Hi there, it's time for another video on the PA5X. Now, although I'm showing you on a PA5X, if you have a PA4X, PA1000, PA700, this is still applicable. So everything I'm going to show you will work. And what we're going to talk about is two buttons down here, the Songbook button, marked Book, and the Songbook button, which is marked Set List. And I'm going to show you how we can use these in conjunction with each other and how we can make finding our favorite settings, our songbook entries, very, very easy. Now, I'm just going to start by just recapping how we actually make a songbook entry, and I suppose why we make a songbook entry. What we would normally do, 9 cases out of 10, we would have a rhythm, which we choose, and that would give us 4 keyboard sets, which, yes, we can change those, and in a different video, we'll be showing you how you can change those. But for the sake of this video, let's just assume I've chosen that style, 6/8 Wonderful Ballad, and actually, I'm happy with these 4 sounds. They fit the piece of music that I'm going to play. So I'm happy with that. Make sure you've got your balances as you want them. Then what you do is come to the book button. We don't just tap the button, we actually press and hold it just for a couple of seconds, and you will see a Save Songbook Entry pop-up come up in the middle of the screen. At this point, I can change the name. Now, by default, if you do it the way I've just done it, it will give it the name of the style. But let's be a little bit more creative. I'll call it Wonderful World. So we type the name in. There's always pressure when you're doing this in front of the camera, but there we go. We got it right. Wonderful World. Okay, so we're going to make a new songbook entry. Save. Are you sure? Yes. Now, take my word for it, that has now made a songbook entry called Wonderful World. How do we check? Well, we'll go back to the book button, and instead of pressing and hold it, just tap it this time to activate the songbook, and it will highlight the one we've just saved, which is called Wonderful World. Now, the songbook, I want you to think of that as a filing cabinet. Many of us have a filing cabinet at home, and all the important documents we need to save so that we can recall them when we need them, we put them in a filing cabinet. And that's exactly what you're doing by making a songbook entry. And if you look at mine here, we end up with quite a big library of settings for different songs. Now, that in itself is wonderful, but it can create the problem that once you end up with a songbook that could feasibly have hundreds and hundreds of entries in, it's how we recall those in a quick way. Yes, I know everything stores in this case, I've stored it by name, so it's in alphabetical order. And if we've got anything with a numeric beginning to the title, that will be at the top of the list, then everything else will be in alphabetical order. But you don't want to have to scroll through or do a search every time you want to find something, and that is where set lists come in. So we're going to go to set lists here. Now, I can have multiple set lists, so I've got Paul's list there. I can go to organ sounds. Okay, not much in there at the minute. And go to James Last. You can basically store lots of things now under different categories. So what is a set list? Go back to your filing cabinet. When you've got important documents, you don't just pile them all into the filing cabinet. You use what we call dividers in your filing cabinet. So you divide things up into car documents, house documents, it might be pension documents, whatever. I'm sure we can all think of lots of different dividers we can have. So then when you go to your filing cabinet and you're looking for a car document, it will be under the tab car documents. You haven't got to search through every bit of paper. So instead of searching through the book, you create a set list. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new set list. Let's show you how to do it. We go to our 3 tabs at the top and we create new set list. Now, rather imaginatively, it's called it new list. That's fine for a minute, but see the little asterisks after it? Well, you will see that quite a lot when you're working with set lists. That's basically just warning you that what you've got now isn't saved. So if we tried to go off that page, it would warn us that we haven't saved it. So let's do that. Let's go back to our 3 lines again at the top and the second option down, save set list. Now, at this point, I'm going to change it and I'm going to call it My Ballads. Now, you can call this whatever you want, but we're creating one here called My Ballads. There we go. Are you sure? Yes. So look, we've now got a set list called My Ballads. And we've got 12 locations on the first page that we can fill with 12 of our songbook entries that are appropriate to that title. So let me tap that book. What was our song called? It was called Wonderful World. So we highlight it and now look, we've got an option, add to set list. So Wonderful World is going to set list called My Ballads, the last position. Well, there's nothing in there at the minute, so it will automatically put it in that first slot. Add. Now, if we now look at our set list, Wonderful World has added. By the way, we've got the little asterisk there. It's saying you've made a change, you haven't saved it. So I get in the habit of doing this. Save set list, save, yes. That gets rid of the asterisk. So I know now if we go off that page, this is now saved. So what exactly is that square doing? All that is a shortcut which calls up the right entry in the songbook. You're not putting this information in twice, so please don't think you're using up more and more memory. This is just a shortcut, an icon if you like. Think of the icons on your computer screen. When you press them, it takes you to that relevant program or that document. It's not the actual document itself, it's just a shortcut, and this is a shortcut. So now we can add more settings to that. So I could go to, for instance, Wind Beneath, add to set list. Now I've got 2 options now. I can either put it in that first position, which will knock our other one into the second position, or the last position means the last new available position. So we'll do that. Add to set list, sorry. Yeah, we've done that. I'd already done it. So there we have Wind Beneath and Wonderful World. We've got the little asterisks. All we have to be aware of is don't leave that page before we've saved it. Let's just go back to the book again, and I'm going to try and find What I Did for Love. Add to set list. Do I want it in position 1, position 2, or the last position? I'll just add it to the last position. Add. Now look at our set list. We've now got 3 entries in there. And this is great because this is our divider, if you like, for my favourite ballads. So if I want to play them, I would just call up that set list. Let's do the save. So save set list. So let's imagine now we're working on a totally different set list here. I've got one called Demo Set. But I now want to go to My Ballads. So let's go to the set list called My Ballads, and there it is. And each one of these obviously will call up the songbook entry, which will have your 4 settings on. So it's making life so easy for you to build up as many set lists as you want. Hope that's cleared up the difference between songbook and set list. In another video, I'm going to show you a totally different way you can use those set lists. But for now, just understand you can have as many different set lists or as many dividers. You can name them what you want, and you can add as many songbook entries as you wish. just before we finish, when you've done 12 and you want to put the 13th in, it will automatically add another page. So if I show you one that has multiple pages, now the arrow is lit and not grayed out, and I can see I can go on to page 2. Both arrows are now lit, so I can either go back to page 1 or I can go forward onto page 3. There's no more. We can see that actually because these are blank, so that arrow becomes grayed out, but we can certainly work our way backwards again. It's just a very, very easy way to organise all of your songbook settings into different set lists.